Hello, hello everyone. It's Angie. Coming on to work on the process of getting my Shabby Chic Vintage journal sewn in to the cover. I'll walk you through what I've done to try the prepping that I did prior to video. So hopefully you will understand it if you guys have never done a floating spine today. Today we will be doing the floating spine method. I've got my holes marked and ready to go. I'm going to be doing a 4-stitch signature. I'm going to be doing 4 stitches, not just a 3-stitch pamphlet stitch. I'm going to do 4 stitch on that. I'm just using an old book that I have torn up. It's not anything vintage or anything like that. It's just a standard book, and the book laid open measures 13 1/4 about by 9 1/4. So I thought it was nice and sturdy, and I had it laying around to use, so I thought today would be the day. Now for a floating, what do I want to say? I'm just totally losing my train of thought here. Doing the floating spine. What that is rather than sew your signature directly onto your book cover, you actually sew it onto a separate binding piece, and then you glue that binding piece to your cover. Okay, so then why they call it floating, so once we get the stitches in and get the signatures in, they'll be secured down like that. I don't know if you can see that. It'll lay like this, and can you see that little bit of a gap there? That's why it's called floating, because there'll be a little bit of a give. There'll be give for that when it's open and closed, open and closed. Okay, so that's why it's called a floating spine. I have, what you want to do is you want to measure the amount of the distance between your spine, not counting right. You don't want to go right up to the edges. Okay, you want to give a little bit to them, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch on each side. Okay, so then when it's laying down, and I think I folded one side, let me show you. So you want to have that nestled right in there, and so when the book is up, it's like so. Okay, it's nestled in the center. There's no overlap, okay, over the folds. And you want to make sure you have that little bit of a space on either side so that it just nestles right in there. Okay, so I've already done that, and it's best that you mark top and bottom, and I just did a light T and B, so top and bottom, so we get it the same on each side. And then I've pre-measured my holes, and I think I gave myself a good amount of distance because these are some big signatures. Okay, so I hope I gave myself enough space to allow that, and it's still going to be a gator mouth regardless, just because the signatures are so big, which is fine with me. I already prepared for that. I'm already okay with that, but I tried to give myself a little bit of room just to give that a little bit more space. So what we do, we'll get started. Try and get at least one signature sewn in before time runs out. I just use some twine here. You want to give yourself about 4 or 5 times the length. Well, with 4 signature, at least 4 times the length. Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I always just give myself a couple more inches, so maybe even go 5. I'd rather have a little bit more than what's necessary, and then we can cut it down rather than not enough and have to start all the way over. And when you're doing it the way I did, where we decorated it first and then we're trying to bind it, sew it in, that makes it even more difficult. So I'm hoping I'll be able to do this without too much difficulty for you guys. Okay, so we'll thread our needle. Make sure we don't have any knots, of course. I think I got myself a little, there we go. Okay, give yourself a little tail. And I've clipped them in to where they don't get too much movement, and I've secured them, and I've got them held down with a couple of my poke tools so my papers don't move. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is make sure I got it right side up, which I do. This is the top, so I want to match top with there, and I'm going to sew that in. Now when you're doing a 4 signature stitch, you want to start at one of the middle ones. You don't want to start at the top, or at least that's the way I do it. Okay, and this is holding my papers in place, so there's not going to get too much movement. Okay, and we are going to try to go in. Let's see. There we go. And we've got it going through. And I've got my pliers here for additional help. And we're going to pull that through. Okay. And just doesn't matter which side you want to do, the left or the right. We're going to go into that second stitch. Okay. And then we're going to come back through the lower middle. Oops. See, I already made a mistake. Sorry, guys. I just did this just to show you my markings, but my intention was I just wanted to show you how I did my markings. I measured so to be equal distance, but that's going to be the inside. So let me just flip that over. And if you don't want that white to show, you definitely want to cover it with a piece of decorative paper, but I'm okay with that, and the flaps won't show. I will be covering those. So then go back in through here, and that's the difficult part. Now we got to go back in through all these pages. So I'm going to have to fiddle with this a little, and it may not be completely in frame, but I'm going to try my best to work it in. And see if I can get it here. Sometimes you have to do like half, get yourself through to where you can see, just do a few pages at a time. We're through there, and then kind of peek and finish going through little by little. And we're through. Good. Okay, now that I've got my doily, so I gotta go through my doily one. Okay. It's not a hard process, but it can be a little challenging at times, especially like I said with me having decorated it first. That definitely adds to the challenge. Okay, so then once we're through the top middles, now I'm going to go back through either one. Since this one's here, we're going to go back through this one and pull that out. And hard on your fingers. It's good to have a pair of flathead pliers to help you pull these through. Okay, now we're through there. Now we go back through the bottom one on our spine. Okay, now we're going to come all the way up to the top hole and back through the entire signature. And if I can remove this, and hopefully that is in place, and just do a little jiggle. Take your time. Like I said, if you have to do a few pages at a time, that's okay. Open it up, see where you're at. Okay, kind of moved on me a little bit, so this last hole is going to be a challenge. I can see that already. Okay, I'm going to have to remove my clamps and just do a couple pages at a time, because I think my pages moved on me just a tad. See, just do a few at a time, get it through. Okay, get it through, so on, so on, and the last one. All right, there we go. Now we're going to pull it taut. Okay. Now we're going to go back through the original hole that we started in. And I think I got a little extra, but that's okay. I may have to adjust. Let's see. Pull it a little taut so we see where we're at. Now we're going to go back into the initial one. We're going to circle back around, and we're going to come back out the middle, and then we'll be able to tie it. Okay, so let's just take it slow. I'm just looking for my needle. So a few pages at a time. A few pages. And back through, if you can see, back through this spine there. Okay. You need some assistance? Do so. Okay. Rethread my needle here. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. Now, make sure we don't have any knots. Pull that through. Okay, so now we're going to come back the back side of there. So back into here and into the middle. And again, take our time. Here we go. Now we're through. Okay, and we can take the needle off at this point because we're ready to tie a knot. And we want to just make sure everything's nice and snug. Want it taut and tie it snug, but not too tight to where it's going to rip your paper or cause a bulk in your pages. And that's a little loose. Can you see that? So we're going to try and pull that just a little bit tighter. Let's give it another little tug on each side. I think we're good. Let me see. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now we're ready to tie that off. And double tie it in a good knot and then close it up, snip it off, or if you want to do bows, whichever you prefer. Okay, see if I can get this, try this here. Sometimes my nails can be a hindrance, but that's okay. Just holding the center so it doesn't get loose on me. And there we go. And I'll just go under. And tie that again. And tie it one more time. Okay, and I think I'm just going to snip those ends off, just like that. And there we go. First signature is sewn in. See that? Nice and snug. It's not going anywhere. Nice and pretty on the inside. And we're going to do the second one the same way. Try and get it done together, but if the time relapses, I will have to shut the camera off and I will finish it up off camera. Okay, again. And see, where is that? What did I just do with it? I did almost about 5 times, so 4 times would have been enough. I do have a little extra, but I'd rather have more than I need than not enough, like I said. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little extra. And we snip it. Okay, so I'm done with that. And I just realized I did not prep the holes for my second signature. I did the first one to show you guys, but honestly I didn't think I'd have enough time to go through the second one. So let's see, which is our top? That's our top and our top. Okay. Okay, and then we've got to get the second one. So all I did with that is I take my last page and I go to my holes. Of course, line it up with your first signature, just like that. Line it up, come right next to the holes, and I do a little tick mark right on the fold with a pencil. Grab a or a pen. Where's my? I had a pencil here a minute ago. We'll have to use a pen. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to line it up. And I just tried to line it up so we have the same amount of distance between there, and that's about 1/4 inch. Okay, and I'm just going to put a small little tick mark, just a tiny one, right where the holes are. Okay, and then I am going to come through, and this part I just eyeball. I'm pretty good about that. I don't usually have a problem with eyeing this. So. And make sure your signature is closed, and we'll poke the hole through. See, just like that. And I do all 4 holes. Try to see where I'm at. This one's kind of okay. There will be challenges from time to time. We face them on head on. Let's see. What if I just do my measurements here? I think I went in a 1/2 inch, didn't I? Yeah. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to use my measurements that I used when I made my holes. I came in a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to put a dot right there. 1/2 inch. And then I went to 2 3/4. And I make a little mark right there. And what was it? 5 3/4. Do a little mark right. Oops. Right there. Oh, I didn't make a mark, but I can see where it goes. Okay. And there we go. Go through. And through. And we're through. Okay, so that's the last page. And then I do the same thing with the very first page of the signature. Okay, so then I'm going to find my center page, which is this page. And I'm going to do the same thing. So get front and front, top and top lined up. And sometimes I don't have to measure on this one now. Sometimes I can just there's the first one, and I'll leave that one in while I'm finding the next hole, just so my paper doesn't slip on me. I'll grab another one of my poke tools and come up to the top. And we're through, right there. So then I'll leave that one in, and I'll take this one out, and I'll make the other 2 holes. And we're through. Okay, this one I think I'm gonna have to, I can't see the mark very well. So I will, it was 2 3/4, so I'll come down to 2 3/4 and put a small little dot there. And come back through. There we go. Okay, so now I got the first page and the last page marked. So now I can come back in with my whole signature, and all the pages are different sizes, so I just need to kind of check and get them where I want them. Oh, and on the other one I took out all my tags and stuff just to make so it wouldn't be quite as bulky when I'm sewing it in, and then I can come back and put the goodies back in. Some of the flat ones are okay, but just take the majority of them out. Make it a little bit easier. That one's okay, I think. This one. That one's probably okay. Okay, and we'll move this one. Okay, so set these off to the side and go back to checking our papers. And we just want to make sure everything's nice and snug all the way down. Give it a couple taps. All your papers are straight. And I don't know if you see that. See how these few pages are shifted off to the side a little bit rather than centered? So that's what we have to be really careful of, and that's what's causing that is the bulk in the signature. So when we do our holes, we have to be really careful for that. Okay, I think I got everything where I want it. Oh, I can check these out as well. Okay. And this is where I use my clips. And I might clip about half of the signature and about half of the signature. Like so. Now I'm going to line my pages up to my front cover, and I like that setting. Okay. I'm going to come in with my poke tool, and we are going to attempt to poke our holes all the way through. Okay. This one, and you want to make sure your signature is closed when you poke the holes. You don't want it laying open because the holes are going to shift. You want to always make sure it's as closed in as much closed position as you can get it. Okay. So I'm right there, and here we go. All right, I'm gonna get the other end. And this is where the page is kind of shifted, so I'm gonna work with my fingers a little bit and try and line those up best I can. Slowly push through, and we met the same hole. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to leave those in. And I have another poke tool. I'm going to grab a third one. And I'm going to do the same thing through the other two. And slowly go through. And there we go. Okay, then I'm going to do the same one with the fourth hole. Just give it a little. All right. Oops. Don't do that. Don't drop it. Okay, close your signature. Make sure your pages are. And slowly go through. And we are through the original hole. Very good. Not too bad. Did good so far. Now if we can just have that good luck when we're doing the sewing part, we will be good as gold. All right, let's get our threaded needle with our twine. And we're going to do the exact same procedure that we did on the first one. We're going to start in, well, since I've got the poke tool through that one, we'll start in this one. It doesn't matter as long as we start in the middle. And I'm going to use my assistance of my pliers. Okay. Pull it through. All right. Okay. Now I need to move this poke tool out. Being careful to not get my papers to shift. And we're going to attempt to go back through into the middle. And like I said, just take our time. We need to do a few pages at a time and check. We can do that. And that's what I'm going to do. Maybe a few pages here. We just do a little peek. There we go. We're through. And through. A few more. Get a little closer. Sorry guys, I'm probably out of frame, but I'll be right back. And we are through. We're through. And the last few to the center, I think. There we are. Okay. Once we're through all the pages, slowly. All right. And then we make sure we leave enough room for this tying. Okay, now we'll go back through this one. And flip it over, and I'm going to check along my ways as I go. And I'm through. Okay. All the way back up to the opposite end. Get my paper snug. I'm going to pull this poke tool out. And back in I go. And that went right through really easily. Very nice. I like when that happens. Okay. All right, now we're going to get a little, pull it snug. Because this is where the difficult part comes in. We have to go back through the two middle holes. Find the center here. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to go back through the first hole that we came in. That one went through nicely. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Snug and back through second middle hole. Very nice. That was easy. Ta-da. And we pull it taut. Oh my goodness. Can you guys not believe what I just did? I didn't sew it to my spine. Now I got to do all that hard work all over again. Can you believe it? Okay, well I'm going to clip my pages since my holes are already made. And I got to reverse it, pull the twine out, and start all over. Well, at least you guys know the process. I will complete this off camera because we're down to 4 or 5 minutes there. And I will finish getting it sewn in. All right, maybe we can get a couple holes in before my time ends. Let's try that again, guys. Sorry. Okay, thread my needle. Go back through the first hole. Oh, got to figure what our top and our bottom is. Okay, that's our bottom. So we need our bottom on here. Okay. So we're going to go into the bottom one there. Pull this closer to me. Okay. As long as it goes a little easier like the first time, we'll be good. Okay. Just the same process. We're just doing it to the binding mechanism. There we go. That wasn't too bad. First 2 holes. Okay. We go back up through this one. And through the spine piece. Not too bad. Okay, now we're going to go all the way to the bottom. And usually the last hole it gets a little difficult. So we'll just take it a few pages at a time. Okay, through there, through there, through there. There. All right, not too bad, guys. Okay, now we're on our bind. Now we just got to go through the first 2 and we are done. And I think time is, oops, pull that snug on both sides. Okay. So that's all the time we have right now, guys. So all I have to do is go back through this hole, come back in to the middle through this hole and tie it off. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and I will show you on the next video how I get it secured down to my book cover. Okay, and we'll get to the decorating of the book cover. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.